Okay, let's dive straight in. We're looking at a listener's analysis of The Cupcake Show on Modern Men Lost Again.
Mm-hmm.
The focus is on how the hosts seem to constantly mock figures like OTW, Paul, Snafu, Bex.
Right.
And the core argument submitted is that these attacks aren't really critique, they're more like displacement, a way to generate drama and maybe distract from their own stuff.
Yeah, that idea of displacement, it feels pretty central once you see the pattern laid out like this. Makes you ask what the real goal of the show is.
Exactly. Versus what they say the goal is.
Right.
Which brings us straight to the first major point. This consistent, really aggressive targeting of people who aren't even there, it suggests the show's actual core isn't about creating anything positive.
No.
It feels more like an activity just to, distract. Distract from their own struggles with getting things done, production-wise, professionally.
That's the fundamental conflict, I think. You see this huge drain on their energy. The weakness here is pretty stark. The hosts, Landry, Moose especially, they spend so much time just
attacking.
Yeah, verbally attacking people's intelligence, their emotions, their lives, using really inflammatory stuff like calling snafu that awful term, or implying OTW is weak and crying.
And the timing is key, isn't it? That's what the listener picked up on. It often happens right before or even during when they're talking about their own creative work.
Right.
Like the AI songs they seem proud of, or those documentary ideas. Live Without Fear, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So that hostility, it just eats up all the energy that should be going into that vision they talk about.
Is it maybe a bit of a coping mechanism too? Like if the creative stuff is hard or not getting traction?
It's easier, psychologically easier to just pivot, right? Go for the high energy attack. It's low effort, guarantees engagement.
And Landry basically admits it, doesn't he? Saying he keeps Snafu in the mix because the guy entertains me.
Which proves the point. It confirms these targets are just fodder, kept around for performative conflict. It validates the listener's defense that these folks are targeted unfairly, purely for content, not real criticism.
It's like the show has eaten itself. The commentary is devouring the creation.
Mm-hmm.
So the suggestion has to be pretty bold. They need like clear boundaries, sacred zones maybe, for the creative stuff.
I like that. Sacred zones. Forces some discipline.
And within those zones, a strict policy. No gossip, no naming names, just focus on the work.
Think about how that plays out. If they're discussing, say, Patrick's music skills or that camera angle idea from episode 5.
They have to stick to the critique of that, the technical side, the creative potential.
Exactly. And consciously avoid that immediate swerve, that deflection that always seems to happen.
Right. Stop Moose from derailing with those abstract A-B questions about complexity.
Yeah.
And definitely don't let it pivot instantly to King Stephen attacking OTW's energy or whatever.
Just focus. Focus purely on how Patrick's idea could work. Don't let it slide into calls to stop fucking poking.
If they could manage just, say, 10 minutes of pure, focused creation talk,
it would instantly elevate things. Show they can do the serious work they claim they want to.
but failing to protect that core, well, that displacement leads straight to inconsistency, which is our second critique.
Right. Displacement as motive, inconsistency as the outcome. The show leans so heavily into this performative chaos.
Yeah, the gimmicks, the escalations.
It just sabotages any attempt to make serious points. It confirms the whole environment rewards bad behavior over actual substance.
It's a structural problem, really. Undermines trust. You see them bring up genuinely high-stakes issues.
Like the surveillance state discussion or that veteran suicide data point, political stuff on Gaza.
Yes, serious topics. But they get instantly buried under manufactured low-stakes drama or personal challenges, gimmicks.
It's tonal whiplash, like you said. So distracting. Things like maximizing ads just to annoy haters.
Right. Episodes 1 and 9. Or that bet about shaving a head for, what, $175? Tying host humiliation to the show's success.
It just creates this completely unreliable, inconsistent feeling. You don't know what you're going to get, moment to moment.
And it feeds that whole panelverse cycle, doesn't it? Where conflict is always worth more than actually resolving anything or landing a point.
Exactly. The audience learns the game isn't about information or debate, it's about the next blow-up, which makes the hosts look, well, self-serving. not intellectually engaged.
Why bother with research when a feud gets more clicks?
But the cost is relevance. They need a consistent editorial objective. If they really want to drive conversation with debate, like they imply when discussing Google data or conditioning,
Then get rid of the theatrical nonsense. The chaos isn't adding flavor, it's just polluting the whole thing.
If they think the show is serious enough for, say, veteran suicide rates,
Then they have to treat it seriously, which means cutting out the juvenile stuff that follows.
for concrete examples, stop asking for links to Snafu's public records right after stop debating if OTW is triggered because someone didn't show up.
That contrast is just jarring, disrespectful even, to the serious topics they sometimes try to tackle.
Instead, show some rigor. Dedicate a whole uninterrupted segment to exploring something deep, like that conditioning aspect of surveillance El Perro brought up.
And stick with it. Maintain focus beyond the first minute. Treat it with the gravity it deserves.
If they can't sustain that focus, maybe don't bring up the topic at all, because otherwise it just highlights their inability to commit to anything beyond the next fight.
Yeah. And that lack of commitment, that lack of focus, it leads straight to the final point, which is hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy, which really drives home the listener's whole argument.
Exactly. The show's pattern of hypocrisy, of projection, it just validates the defense of the people they target.
It's the central irony, isn't it? The hosts accuse others of the very things, ego, playing games, dishonesty, that they themselves are openly doing.
It completely undermines their own credibility and confirms the listener's point. The targets are being unfairly criticized.
It feels like projection as a content strategy. The weakness is just glaring. They constantly hammer Paul, Talcott, OTW for having egos, avoiding accountability, twisting things.
While admitting to making stuff up for entertainment?
Right. Or contradicting themselves constantly.
That self-sabotage is really something. Landry saying he just makes up stories, like throwing Truth or Cobb out.
Yeah, episode 9.
If you're openly admitting to fabricating narratives for laughs, how can you possibly criticize OTW for supposed dishonesty with a straight face?
You can't. That performative approach just destroys any moral high ground they might claim.
And the power dynamics piece is crucial too, the irony there.
It's deep. Constantly criticizing OTW for being disempowered or weak.
Uh-huh.
And then you have Moose admitting, what was it, in episode 5, that if he went on one of those other shows, he fully expects to get muted or kicked out.
So he knows. He shows this sharp awareness of the toxic power dynamics in that whole scene.
Dynamics they use themselves,
Yeah.
but refuse to acknowledge in their own space. They know exactly how the game is played because they're playing it too.
So to fix this self-inflicted wound, they need credibility, which means embracing radical transparency, real self-awareness.
Yes.
When they challenge someone else, apply that exact same tough standard to their own history, their own actions.
That's the only way to turn this destructive cycle into something useful. So, for actionable steps, when they criticize OTW for being disempowered, maybe first address their own admitted failures?
Like what?
Like Landry trying to recruit people who always end up leaving. Or the fact they're obsessed with the stakes because, quote, they don't want to lose or fail their broadcast. Own that insecurity first.
Or stop projecting it.
Yeah.
And with Snafu, they have to stop the double talk.
Absolutely. Stop justifying keeping him around for fucking energy in one breath.
While calling him a loser failure in the next. In the same episode, even.
That constant contradiction just confirms the critique. They exploit conflict for clicks, trapping people in these toxic roles. They need to just own the power game they admit they're playing.
Instead of pretending they're somehow above it all.
Yeah, that kind of radical honesty, it would change everything. It would shift the whole vibe from this gossipy, reactive thing.
To something actually critical. Introspective, even.
And it would prove the listener's point, really, that the targets, OTW, Paul, Snafu, Bex, they aren't the problem. They're just victims of this environment that rewards conflict above all else.
Okay, so to wrap up the main points, we focus on 3 big areas for improvement. First, stop the displacement. Protect those creative segments, enforce that no gossip rule within them.
Right. Second, ditch the distracting performance gimmicks aim for editorial consistency, especially when tackling serious subjects.
And finally, commit to self-awareness, radical accountability. That's how they build back credibility and stop the hypocrisy and projection.
And if they make those changes, they move past this toxic cycle. They'd prove that the issue isn't OTW or Paul or Snafu or Bex.
The issue is the environment.
Exactly. An environment that currently prioritizes feuding over quality. Making these changes shifts the focus back to making something good, not just making noise. It's the only real way forward for them.
A really sharp, insightful analysis submitted. We definitely encourage the listener to take these suggestions on board, maybe rework things and submit their material again for a follow-up.